What's up, y'all? Gonna do a quick and dirty breakdown of a tune called Inisheer. It's an air, relatively recent. It's a modern tune. I'm also gonna break down this cool little ornament that is, I think, just called a trill. It's this guy. I've mentioned that a few times, but I haven't really broken it down. So stick around, we'll be right back. Cool little tune. Again, it's a modern tune. It was written fairly recently by Tommy. Should have looked that up. Can't remember. It's going to say it right here because I forgot. But it's a cool tune, and it kind of got popularized by Joni Madden and Eileen Ivers teaching it at some workshops. And now I hear it a lot of sessions, a lot of different gigs that I've played. It pops up. It's a great tune. So we'll break down just the basic melody here, starting with the A part of chorus. That's the beginning. So a lot of time spent on the B, which is why it's also a good tune to work on that ornament, which we'll get to in the end. So I'll run that section again. All right, so that's the beginning of it. The second section, again, back to the B. So fairly similar, fairly repetitive, as a lot of the good tunes are. So again, just the whole beginning part there. So that's the whole A part. B part, as is often the case, jumps up to the second octave, but still fairly simple and carries on some of those same sort of themes that we had in the A part. That little triplet at the end, that's fairly integral. It's not really an ornament. You can make it sort of an ornament and make it more rhythmic, but it also is a pretty big part of the melody. So let me run that part just again one more time for you here. Second half is still sort of repetitive to the beginning of the first half, but here we go. So the B part, the end of the B part ends kind of the same way the end of the A part does. So hopefully if you got that, it'll make it fairly easy to pick up. Now, there's one little interesting trick with this tune is that the second time through the B part, when you're playing it the second time, rather than staying on the E, jumps up to the high G. So I'm going to run that real quick. Hopefully you can pick up on the difference here. I'm just going to play the whole B part second time through. So it's a subtle difference, but it's an important part, and it's, it's an important bit of the tune. Now, ornaments. There's one that I use a couple of times through this tune that I do want to break down, because it's another one of those kind of oddball little whistle-specific things. I wouldn't use this all the time, and there's really only a handful of circumstances where you can, because it's jumping up to that B. I had to Google this. I could have sworn it had some fancy Highland bagpipe name, because I learned it as a bagpipe ornament. Torlua, Crunlua, Lumlua, all these ridiculously long words, but I finally found it and they just called it a trill. So I have no idea if that's really what it's called or not, but that's what we're going to call it now for sake of argument. And the ornament is this. You can do it from any note. It's going up to that B. So the movement is, let's say if we're going from a G. You caught that? So you're kind of doing a couple of little grace notes like that. As it gets up tempo, just kind of makes that nice popping sound. So on the E, that's kind of where I would use it a lot, I think. You're coming off of the E, A, B, C, D, E, yeah, make sure I'm on the right note. Coming off the E to play the B, and then back to the E, grace note, and then to the main melody note B. So you almost have a bit of a C natural sound in there because your E finger is still down. That's the sound that you're going for when you play it up tempo. It's like this. Kind of helps if you use tonguing to separate the transition too, again, from whatever note you're going from. And it really just pops when you kind of bounce off that E. And again, it's not something you'd use all the time, but in this case, I would use it, you could start it right off the bat. Or if you're starting on the G. Other than that, I'm just using a slide. Kind of when you come back to the B, I like to land on that short roll. When you land on the G again, short roll. I'm hopefully not using too many ornaments on this tune, because the slower tunes, the airs, you can easily overdo it. I'm hoping I'm not guilty of that, but you can be the judge. Just a slide up to the B, and then that kind of, I don't know what we call that, just sort of a popping noise. As you come back down, it's sort of the opposite of that ornament. As you land on the E, popping that B finger off. That would just be a tap, and then a short roll. Pop that B again. I do that popping thing a lot. I just kind of like the sound of it, and it gives kind of an interesting punch in a beat that you probably wouldn't be expecting it, which is why I like doing that. Going up to the B part, just a slide. You can grace note that first one if you're so inclined, but again, just a nice short roll on the E. Now, that's one, I guess you could call it a cran. It's really not, it's just two grace notes, but maybe call it a double grace note. So what I'm doing is I hit the E, you do a grace note on using the standard cut finger as well as the index finger here. So it's really, does kind of have a cran kind of sound, even though it's only two of the three grace notes. You're just doing two of them, not three. So, and it sort of has a bit of a little bubbly kind of sound when you're playing it up tempo. Sliding on the B, I do that a lot. Same thing, same kind of little bubbly sound on the E. So there we go, where we're doing that triplet. That's the basic melody, and the triplet is included there. You can kind of pop it with the triplet, that little useful physics effect that we get on the whistle by going from B, C natural to D, and as we're going from B to C natural, it's got that kind of bonus rhythmic pop. So just helps to pop it a little bit, gives it a little bit more punch. Again, I'm sliding on the D, or sliding on the B. Popping that E when we hit that. Like I said, I tend to do that a lot. Otherwise, the only thing different is on that second time through when you jump up to the high G. Well, what I'll do again is a short roll on G, but you don't have to, you can just slide. Either way, whatever works better for you, whatever you think sounds nice, but... And again, finishing the phrase in a short roll. Hope you guys dig this tune. I like it. It comes up from time to time, and it's a nice, easy one. Sounds great on the low whistle, sounds great on the flute. So play around with it, let me know what you think, and give that Trill, for lack of a better word, a shot. See what you think of that one. We've got about one more week on the giveaway for this very whistle. If you haven't seen that, I'm going to post a link wherever that thing goes. I can never remember that. I really ought to just remember where the little thing pops up. But check out that video if you haven't. I'll also put a little thing at the end of this. So you can get on board, get on the contest if you want to win this awesome Gary Humphrey whistle. Hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.